Today, we are diving into a story that's about 4,000 years old. But don't let the age fool you. It all comes down to a choice that is just as real for us today as it was back then. It's a story about a decision that, honestly, changed the course of history.
Right from the get-go in the book of Genesis, we're presented with these two fundamental paths, two completely different ways of relating to God. And it really boils down to this: suspicion or trust.
So let's break this down. What do these two paths actually represent? Well, they're basically two opposing mindsets that really set the stage for everything that comes after. First up, you've got the path of Adam. This is that all-too-human tendency to doubt, right? It's looking at God's guidance and seeing a trap. It's the mindset that suspects God has some kind of hidden agenda, that his rules aren't actually for our good, but are really just about control. But then, you have the path of Abraham, and this is a total 180. It's the choice to trust that there's a good and loving plan in motion. It's believing in these incredible promises, even when, and this is key, even when all the evidence in front of you says they're absolutely impossible. It's a true leap of faith.
So let's zoom in on the man who actually walked this path of trust. What exactly made his choice so radical?
I mean, just try to put yourself in Abraham's shoes for a second. He's 75 years old. He's living in what we'd now call southern Iraq. His wife, Sarai, is 65. And they have no children. Now, in that culture, having no heir meant you had no future, no legacy. For all intents and purposes, his story was over.
And it's right there, at what seems like the end of the line, that God speaks to him. Now, in the original Hebrew, the very first two words are just incredibly direct. Toi, va. It literally means you go. Sometimes you just have to go back to the original language to feel the raw power of a moment like that. And those two simple words carry so much weight. This isn't a gentle suggestion. It's a personal, almost abrupt command. The word for it is a vocation, a calling that singles you out, sets you apart for a very specific mission. And what a mission it was! He's told to leave everything that gives him his identity. His country, his extended family, his own father's house. He has to abandon every single source of security he's ever known for a destination that isn't even named. Just a land I will show you. Can you imagine?
But here's the other side of the coin. In return for this complete uprooting, the promises are just staggering. To this childless 75-year-old man, God promises to make him a great nation, to make his name great, and that he himself would become a blessing. The gap between his reality and this promise, it's just immense.
Now, this really personal, intense call was never ever meant to be a private affair. Nope. From the very beginning, this thing had global implications. The promise builds to this one single, world-changing line. Abraham's journey isn't just for him. It's not just for his future family. It's meant to be the way that a blessing reaches every single family on earth. And this gets to a really core idea in the Bible. A genuine calling from God is never about you. It's never self-serving. It is always a mission that is focused on serving and helping other people. Okay, so how do we get from this ancient story about a promise to the Christian understanding of salvation? Well, it all comes down to what that word saved really means.
So first, let's look at the word gospel. We hear it and we think of the books in the New Testament, right? But in the original Greek, an evangel wasn't a book. It was a public announcement of good news, like a new king taking the throne. For Christians, it became the ultimate announcement. God's good plan for humanity isn't just coming, it's here. And what is this good news? It's that God has saved us. But here's the thing. In the Bible, the number one meaning of the word to save is to liberate. It's not a passive idea. It's active. It's concrete. To be saved is to be set free. And we're not just talking about some abstract spiritual concept. The Bible shows God actively liberating people from very real kinds of bondage, from political slavery like in Egypt, from social injustice and poverty, from oppressive religious systems, and yeah, ultimately, even from death itself. And here is the most important part of all. This liberation, it's not something we can earn. It's not a reward for good behavior. As St. Paul makes crystal clear, it is a free gift, coming completely from God's own plan and his own grace.
Now we see the ultimate confirmation of this path of trust, this whole plan of liberation, in this incredibly powerful moment in Jesus' life, the Transfiguration. This is where the promise made to Abraham just bursts into full color.
So Jesus takes his three closest friends, Peter, James, and John, up on a high mountain.
And there, something incredible happens. He is transfigured. His face shines like the sun, and for just a moment, his true divine reality breaks through into our world.
Then a voice speaks from a cloud, and for anyone who knew their scriptures, every word was a bombshell. "This is my son." That pointed directly to the promised Messiah King. Then, "my beloved." That's a direct quote pointing to the suffering Messiah servant from the prophet Isaiah. And finally, "listen to him." That identified him as the great prophet, the new Moses. In just 3 short phrases, Jesus is revealed as the fulfillment of all of these major hopes.
The disciples are, and you can't blame them, completely terrified. They fall on their faces. But Jesus comes over, touches them, and gives them a command that just echoes down through time: rise and have no fear. It's this message of courage for anyone who has just caught a glimpse of the divine plan that all started with one man's act of trust.
And that brings us right back to where we started. The entire story, from Abraham's impossible journey to Jesus' blinding glory, it all holds out the same fundamental choice. Do we look at God and the world with suspicion, or do we dare to step out in trust? It's a choice between a story of control and a story of liberation. And really, the question isn't just about Abraham, it's about us. Which path will we choose to walk?